Hi everyone, this is a series that's going to be about artificial intelligence and the candlestick predictor, and it's going to be powered by brain.js. Hey, why not? A lot of people are interested in artificial intelligence. Uh, doesn't go away. It intrigues people on how what we can do with it, how to use it, and stuff like that. And this series is it's a beginning of a project. The project is is just starting, so it's all by phase. But for the first phase is done, which is to integrate the data to Redux Store. Okay, so before I even press button, let's go check out the Redux Store here and see what's in the state and if we have something. Sure, we don't have nothing, but we have structure. Eh? We have like an organized database here that could receive stuff and that we can go and fetch and deploy this on the website. So let's start it off with by pressing 1 minute. It'll be easier to understand what it's all about. We're talking about BTC USD price, and this is live. So I pressed a minute, so that's within a minute. And as we speak on 2021 0514, we are at 49,863 and 84 cents as opening price, and that would be taken from the financial modeling group. Okay, so it's pretty accurate. It follows. I checked it versus TradingView, and I checked it versus the FTX, and it's pretty good. I find it pretty clean. It's straightforward. It's fluent. It works good. So for the brain.js to take in some input, it works really good. So now we pressed on 1 minute. We got ourselves a snapshot. I call this a snapshot of 15 data points. Default chart setting is set at 15. All right. So we can't expect 15 data points to be much of an analytic. It's not very efficient. It could be very not too secure because 15 minutes is 15 minutes, and the volatility here is like 2,500. Okay, so he's being honest. Like, look at this. We got 49.9 and 49.8. That's just 100. 49.9 and 49.8. Well, I don't know. I don't know how he can't invent things. So to have more accuracy here, we'll just give it some more values like 55, let's say. And let's stick to the 1 minute here. So 55 is 1 hour of data, and volatility here is already getting better. It's a high volatility of 400 in less than an hour. But actually, there was some volatility in here, it seems, right? And we have a semi prediction, like 50,100 is his open price prediction. And the reality is 49. So he's actually like saying the next is going to go, he's got a higher opening prediction. But yet again, as you can see, the green is really low down here. This is the close. So the close is going to close under the open. So that's why I left this bar red, because if the open is above the close, generally that's called a red bar. If it's the opposite, like if this is would be above here, that like if the close closes 400 not negative over the green, that's then it would be considered a green bar that he's projecting. But again, that's his personal projection, and we'll get deeper into how I get these his projection, because there are four brains. Yeah, I just called in four brain.js to do the job, one for each price, and it's not too complicated. So before I just go to the back end, I want to stop by in the terminal, the developers tools, right? Where we can understand a few more things here, what we can do for the moment, because the project's not, there's more charts to be coming. Like, but when you do a project, you want to make sure you agglomerate all what you need as data in here to create another step, so you know where you're heading with all your data, because a ladder and bring all kinds of big data into a brain, and then to slowly break it down so that we can understand it even better and better. So without going too far here, let's come back what we can do right now. Okay, so we're in 1 minute. I called in 55 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do 55, and I'm going to do 89 minutes. Boom. There, calls it in. I'm going to do 144 minutes. Boom. Called it in. 2:33. 1 minute. I put it in the brain. But he's not analyzing two shots at a time. It's only one shot at a time. So, but it gets recorded. So that's the nice part of it, and really quick. So 2:33, and then it's going to be, let's say 2:33, 6:10, let's say. It's recorded, and 97, I'll go like that. Boom, got recorded. So let's go back down to maybe 50. It's easier to see, and we got some data back, so we can just sort of see what he's saying, because every time I clicked, we can go check the array that I clicked, 89, 87, 610, right? So it's easy to check the projection. So somehow, while this is, it would be like, if you come to the bottom, top to bottom, this is the last one. So up here, it's top to bottom. This is the projection of this 987 array, and so on. Just a small detail of explanation, not to lose oneself in all this big data. And we can see, let's start here, the 50 array. He's predicting open price of 49.9. He's $100 close to 50,000. And his actual price right now is 49.7, 756. So his open price is shooting up. And we can actually go see his other ones up here. 967 is even greater than this one. So his longer term is actually saying it should shoot up even higher than that, right? Just to support this little graph here, we can back up even more. 967 with a bit less data yet, so but all in minutes, and to support the his thinking, and then we can look a bit of the design of what it looks like. So now we're on the 51 minute, and we can actually like minute pass, right? So if we click it again, okay, we're a new minute. That's all that happened here. Only 1 minute or 2, 3 minutes went, like while I was talking, maybe 3 minutes went by. So that's why it changed, sort of morphed a bit. And we can actually check what happened to the 49,883. He decided to downgrade himself. He's from 49.9 to 49,883. And with this new data, we can actually, like, why not just do the test? 987. And he's going to analyze that. Come back here. And it's recorded, so we can check what his prediction is. So he's, as a long term, he's saying 944, and his other one here is saying 967. So he's going down a bit. There he is, 944 from 967. He decided with this new few minutes of data, he readjusted his thinking. And on the 50 bar, he also adjusted his thinking to even drop more from where he was on the 50 here. 883 and 890. Oh, 883. He's sort of pointing upwards. So obviously all this is sort of technical to just look at it point to point. But while you're building the project, because we're going to go into the back end, people who are interested on how we actually work with the coding behind scene, that's what we're going to go be doing. So I'm going to be taking my time. I'll be doing videos without trying not to be nervous, so I could bring the right information about how we can work with brain.js. And so now that I showed you a bit on the beginning of data, we can deepen. There's different subjects from analyzing the data that got received, but there's also how we got the data first, and that's where I want to head out to in Visual Studio here. But let's take one last few minutes here just to look at some of the data that we see. Volatility here is $14. His projection is, he projects that the close is going to close $14 under the open. Now, what is his projection of the open? Well, we have to go check it. It's 49,890, like we were looking at, right? And the actual price is 49,745. So he's going up. Okay, he's projecting a bit up. 75 is about $100, and the close 875. So $100. Again, he said, well, a bit more than $100, and a lot more than $100, $200 close, right? And yeah, and we're on the 50 bar. Okay, so we're analyzing 50 bar, and like I showed you before, we could support it with the 987. That's the close to 1,000 piece of data. So we can actually just go up here, 987, a minute. And while I was talking, some extra data came in through, so there's going to be some little tweaks. So for the long term, it sure looks the same, So that's good. But the volatility, look, $9 of volatility. So that's like squeezing. It just seems like from where it was before lots, and then it squeezes. So when it squeezes, we're going for a crossover, maybe. Eh? So in the future, if I had a stream, which in the future we'll have streaming here, we can see the past history of this data coming, dripping into a time chart here, and so we can use it. And all of this dripping of data into a time chart all comes from, you know, four piece of data, okay, to retain. And if you notice, every time I refresh this, it's four. One, two, three, and four, right? So I have a brain that has a training array like such, and they're all the same, okay? They're all the same. They all same have the same formation and the same amount because that's what we choose. You can choose the amount of array you put inside the brain every time you choose this number. Okay. And let's just take a look at one of this before I go to the back end. The structure here. So you see, it's not much input. It's how he gets, this is his array that he gets trained on. And you will understand, you see it's 0.50, like input, the high, the low, the close, and the output, right? The output is the open price training array, right? So if I go to the next one, open price, close price. If you could retain how it looked like, so it looks like the same. Input high, low, open, and the output is the close. So I want when the output is the projection, it's a prediction, right? So I got one brain for a closed output prediction, one for the open, one for the close, sorry, one for the high, and again, always the same structure, one, two, three, and the output high. And I'll explain how I get these little decimals here in just shortly. And again, third part, bang, bang, done, one, two, three, and the output is the low, right? Four brains. Now, without further ado, let's go take a look at the brain right from the top. Those four brains I was talking about. Start off, I call in neural network, okay? And to get all individual handles, let's say. So you can call this like, these are your handles. When you build it, you can sort of name what you want because you can define a lot of neural networks here. And as you can see, they're not time stepped or long-term, short-term memory neural networks yet. And that's okay because we'll keep it simple. Get the data clean, get some clean data, make it, and then after we can make it, push it to another level, and even again push it to another level where we go and manipulate the amount of layers, neurons we're going to be using, and the neural networks, the amount of layers, sorry, that we're going to be using. But for now, let's keep that simple. If you remember, I showed you the financial modeling prep. Well, this is an Axio get function imported, so it has to be installed. I build my arrays, and I start feeding it. So I call it with loops, and the arrays come in. Maybe I should do another video on little components on how these arrays work, but it would take a bit of time. But as you can just see, it's unshift. Instead of push, you see unshift. It's because this particular data set is coming upside down, right? And you might not notice you have the time number, and this is a test for myself for the future. Maybe I should take it out for now. It's not on the screen, but time here is the default time that it starts, the 15. And when you set in, like when I put in 55, 89, 144, 987, well, that's the time. And that is injected in here. So automatically it gets pulled, and I fetch a specific time at that with my keys and stuff. So we'll keep that like that, right? So we'll continue. We're looping. Now, I got some arrays built up. Got some open, some low, some high, some test arrays, some data. One of the main data here, labels pushed into an array, and we start the brain. And here, the first brain center, that's my handles. You can call whatever you want when you build your handles. I call these handles of the array here. And so I build my array, and the brain starts. So I unshift. Excuse me, I'm reading this. I'm unshift here because I unshifted already. I'm just gonna go check my other if I'm unshifting all of them. Yeah. Well, it's okay. Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry. Like I said before, my fault. I'm mixed up. The data that's coming from this particular data set is coming upside down. So I have to unshift it to get so the dates appear. Like if I want my last date to appear at my right in the screen. So exactly. So let's come back to the core of the brain. If you remember, I showed you in the console these results, these 1, 2, 3 output, 1, 2, 3 output, 1, 2, 3 output. Okay, well, that's where we're at. Okay, and for one piece, we come in. I got my neural network plugged. Okay, center opennet dot train. Okay, center opennet is my handle for this neural network here. Okay, it's calling in a new structure. It's prototype. You know, when you put new here, it calls in a prototype of the neural network. And so I can reuse it. And now that I'm reusing it, I am going to push my center open brain, which is what I'm input and output. So he's receiving everything. Okay, but I'm telling him this is the output and this is the input and this is the output. That's what I'm saying to this handle here. Okay, so he gets injected here, and here I can manipulate iterations. I don't even believe that when I shoot that he uses all his 20,000 arrays. He's very quick. I could maybe do some testing and exaggerate like his. I ask him, hey, I want that kind of perfection, but let's say for now we'll keep it under control here, and keep the learning rate under control. If you try to make him learn too fast, he skips, he might not learn properly. It's always good to momentum, you know, one maybe. And evidently my screen is slowly. Well, now that I got some technical issues behind me, we can continue on. And one more thing I wanted to talk about was how I was getting the decimals. Because brain.js works better, how to say, between 1 and 0. So this is would be 1, a 0, it's under the 1, right? So it's a decimal. And that's where his kind of sweet spot is. And we're talking about Bitcoin value, which is like 50,000 and plus, or there's 5 digits, right? So the secret with math, pull it back, So I'm just actually just pulling that number, whatever number Bitcoin is, I'm dragging it right into a decimal. So 50,000 becomes zero point 0.5, right? And this formula would work until you would hit 99,000. And if Bitcoin would hit 100,000, I would have to simply hard code another zero here. But till then, we don't have to push it. We could push it, and then it would be not zero point 0.5, it would be 0.05 for 50,000. So we'd be dragging it in deeper into the neural network, which later maybe we can talk about where we want to use the brain to compare coin to coin. Sorry. When you want to compare coin to coin, you want to analyze both coins pretty much at the same kind of zero levels, You don't want them to be too much apart because it won't make sense for the brain. And we'll talk about that so it doesn't. So right now we'll keep that to 5 digits because Bitcoin's under 5 digits. And another thing we're going to take a look at is we will console log something here. Let me find where I can console log. There we go. I actually put it in for myself so I don't forget. So it's right there. We are going to console log the network, and we shall go see all the options that actually the default options that are set already. And if you notice that these default settings will be have changed because I changed them here. And basically, let's say I'll put a digit here. How about 5 there? And we will go see the console log in the network here. In the developers tool. And we don't need to actually look at data like such. We just need to. So, okay, we console log 73, line 73. Let's open her up. And we're touching brain.js in the browser here. We got quite a stuff, and it tells us what kind of brain we're using. Okay. Binary threshold, that is sigmoid. Activation sigmoid. Bias, there's 3 biases. We can talk about that a bit later too, but let's just do an overview. Calculate delta. We'll skip that delta, change errors, hidden errors, input look. Come down to options, maybe. Where are my options? Training options. Right over here. And as you can see down, we have momentum where I put it there at 8. What I changed 20,000 to 20,500 learning rate. So we have like a certain, you can come and manipulate different, you can tweak, like we could say, tweak, exactly. So that's one thing I wanted to show. And now that I showed it, I guess for the moment, not to tire our spirit, we will close that off. And yeah. So back to the backside, the flip side. Let's make sure we take a look at everything here. So as you can see, the brain is very simple. You can take a look at this data here as one piece of data. Maybe we could take it I just thought of it. We're looking about data. Well, let's go take a look at what I am. All right, receiving the data here. And so we have the date, high, open, low, close, and the volume. So I'm not using the volume. I'm using the date, but I'm not in the brain, just for the chart. So I'm pulling the date in. And I'm using these 4 pieces of data. So how can we talk about what's happening here in his brain with just 4 pieces of data? You know, it's like I'm creating a recipe here, and the recipe is 3 pieces versus 1 piece. But it's like a target, right? These 3 pieces together is a pattern, and that pattern has to equal this pattern, right? This is his target. So he gets trained that way. I told him this is the I want you to project me the close. Because in the end, right now, I'm giving him the data. We're giving him the data to learn and train, force training him. But right at the end of the array, we're like taking his close out of there, and we're saying, hey, give it to me by yourself with all the training that I gave you, you know, through all these arrays. So yeah, it's basically, so again, just an overview, 3 pieces of data that creates a pattern, and that pattern has to equal this one. And I'm saying I'm force training him that way, and this to that, this to that. And now I have 4 brains. So I have 4 pieces, 3 pieces of data for the close. And then I take the close, the high, and the low, and I say, give me a projection of the open. And then my other brain is the other ones, like open, close, and high, and give me the projection of the low. And for the last brain is, you know, for the high. So there we have a little overview of a bit how the data is going to be reintroduced in how the brain takes it in, right? So you have the input, and I'm force training him, right? So recipe, output, or pattern, right? Because I could also, you know, control copy, do this. I'm not going to do it, but just to show you how you can manipulate. Now I'm training him on 2 datas, and I want 2 outputs, but that's is giving him a hard time. He doesn't have enough input. You see, the 2 pieces here is hard for him to diversify or how identify pattern versus pattern. But yeah, There we go. Get in there. So, yeah. So the next step is to stream this. So that's what we're gonna attack ourselves on.